The following video is suitable for all audiences, but is intended for middle school students who have recently started their module on Mendelian genetics. You have probably already learned a little bit regarding Mendel's pea plants and how genes are passed on based on dominance and recessive gene characteristics. So what we want to do today is expand your knowledge on this subject and apply it not only to things like food, but to humans as well. So far, we don't have a whole lot of knowledge on the topic of modifying the genes of humans. So what I first want to talk about with you today is what exactly is a genome? Does anybody know or can give a definition? Great. So the official definition is a set of chromosomes that make up an organism. So chromosomes are like a blueprint. They're a genetic blueprint that make up who you are. And who you are is based on genes that your mom and your dad both pass down. And sometimes when these genes are passed down, they don't quite match up correctly. There can be something called a mutation. So a mutation is when your genome, your blueprint, it has a set of instructions for you, but for some reason that is not quite known, the set of instructions gets mixed up and it ends up being a little bit wrong. This can go unnoticed in your genome, or it could have detrimental effects that cause something like a disease. And unfortunately, at this time, there is not a whole lot of knowledge on how mutations occur, but as humans, we are beginning to discover ways to manipulate the genome so that we can fix these mutations. So one example that I wanted to bring up is something that you guys are probably aware of, but just to give you guys some perspective. When looking at fruits and vegetables, when you're browsing the grocery store with your parents and you see a banana, for example, this banana has been genetically modified. Its blueprint has been edited by scientists specifically for you guys. You want a nice, tasty, good banana without a whole lot of obstacles. But as you see, back in the day, before genetic modification, bananas came with a whole bunch of seeds in them. That wouldn't be very eatable, now would it? So to make things more tasty, to make things more beneficial for us humans, we learned how to change the blueprint, the genetics of a banana, much like Gregor Mendel did with his pea plants. So at this point in time, this is something that you guys will need to start thinking about. Your parents are likely voting about things like this at this point in time. It's becoming something that is going to be very prevalent in society by the time that you are your parents' age. So it is important that we begin to expose you to this knowledge at this point in time. So another thing that is currently being debated within our society is, should it be legal to edit the genome of a human zygote to prevent harmful gene transmission? So for example, the banana. We didn't want the seeds to be transmitted to all the bananas that we would breed. We wanted them to be good and perfect for us. That can somewhat be said the same with humans. If you want a human to not have a life-altering condition, it is potentially possible to alter this. So one thing to remember is we are not quite certain as to what altering a genome can cause yet. There has not been enough clinical studies that have been peer-reviewed that have given us solid enough evidence. So it is important to remember that a mutation, yes, can cause a disease, and yes, that mutation may be fixable via genome editing. However, only a small amount of diseases are linked to the activity of one single gene. So while it is important that this is a possibility, and we can prevent things like sudden infant death syndrome, hypothetically, for example, if we could prevent that via genetic modification before the zygote, aka a fertilized egg cell or a baby, is born, then we could be able to prevent this harmful gene transmission in the future. This is good. However, we want you to do your research. We want you, by the time you are your parents' age, to be more knowledgeable than we are on the subject. Because as of now, we should not be manipulating these genes. We do not know enough about it, but one day we will, and that is on you. So if you're interested in science and genome editing is something that is inspiring to you, please help us out and help us make this decision, because as of now, it is not legal. People will be voting on it, and you guys will be the next generation of people that revolutionizes genomic studies. With that being said, thank you for your time, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.